Alright, so welcome back to Developer Coding. So in today's video, we're going to implement the unit test for our Node.js API. So, and as you can see right here, the code right here is in another video. So I have another video that I'll focus on build the REST API with TypeScript, Sequelize, and Sqlite3. And if you want to follow along, you can go to the other video first, learn how to do that. Or if you just want to implement the test, you can go into the link in the description of the repo, go to my repository, so you can clone this one and you can follow along as well. All right, so let's do that. So the first thing that you need to do, you need to add this dependency into your, after you clone my repo, you need to run yon install, and then you need to add this dev dependency. So the first one is going to be Jest, it's for TypeScript for Jest, and this is Jest and type for it, super test, and this is just the type of the super test. All right, so let's do that. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is so I'm going to run the npx ts jest. And then we're gonna go with configs, and then we're gonna init. So we're gonna init the configs of our Jest right here. There you go. So right now, and as you can see right here. And the next thing is you need to go into the package.json. So right now we do not have a test script yet. So we could do the same thing. It's really simple. We can do test, and then we can pass the Jest right here. Perfect. So now everything is good. So the next thing is we're going to write some hello world tests. So for that, I can create another folder right here, test, outside the source. And then I'm going to create the todo.test.ts. The things about the file name here is important. So if you can name the the first one to do here, whatever you want, but the test right here is important, that it just will looking at this file and it will run the test, and the .ts because we are working with TypeScript. Okay, so for the hello world, you can go into the documentation of Jest. I'm going to copy this one. So go back in here, I'm going to paste this one. So we do not have the sum function. So what we can do is to do something like this. So let me explain you something about this one. So we can test this one right here. So this is a string. So the string right here, you can put it whatever you want, but the expect right here is need to behavior. Let's say you have a function, that the function after it's run, it should be equal to something. So right now it's just basic hello world. We can just do something like this. The 1 plus 2 to be equal 3. So right now what I can do is to open my terminal. I'm going to run yon run test. So right now it's gonna run our test. So you can see that it's passed because indeed 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So right now if I said 1 plus 3 is to be 3, it's gonna fail. So all right, so you can see that it failed because we have the expected 3 but we receive it 4. So this is also the debugging place that you could see that when you do something it fails. So all right, so that's there you go. So that's for really basic for test case. But in our case, we're gonna test our route REST API, and then we're gonna do with the database as well. So all right, so let's do that. So I'm gonna delete this one. So you could have a multiple test as well. So you can see that. So right now I can add another test, one more test, that this test is going to be true. So if I run this one, right now it's going to be true. Yeah, one pass is one fail. As you can see that we have one fails and the other one is pass. Perfect. So also you can group this one. So if you want to group this one, you can do the describes right here, and you can name string this one whatever you want. I can do like groups. And this is going to be a function that we can pass our test right here inside this one. So right now, if I run this one again, so it should be, I see. So because we have one fails right here, and right now I'm going to put this one back to be true. So I'm going to be, both of them is going to be true. So there you go. So right now, as you can see, we have like a group test, and then we have this test right here. 1, 2, 3 is gonna be true. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for grouping this one. So I'm gonna delete this one, and I'm gonna keep this one right here. We're gonna change this one a little bit. So what we're gonna test is we're gonna test our route to do. So we have a route right here, and as you can see, we have create, we have read, this one read with pagination, this one read by ID, and then we can go to controller. We're gonna test all of the things. So first, I'm gonna focus on the read with to do. So I'm gonna test for create. So after we create successfully, we're gonna return this JSON right here. So what I'm gonna test is that we make sure that the key record and the key message is in the return of this route right here. All right, so to do that, we're going to make a request to this route right here, to this route/create. So for that, we're gonna import. So I'm gonna import request from supertest. So supertest is allow us to make the request to that one. So instead of call it group, I'm gonna test the test create route. So I'm gonna group this one. So we not only test for success, we're gonna test failures, test let's say for the validator and stuff like that. So that's why I'm gonna group this one. And the test right here, let's say should have key record and MSG in should have when created. So this one is mean like when it successfully create, I want to have this key inside this one. So I'm gonna call the request. So the request is gonna call post. So we're gonna, because our route right here is gonna do post request. So you can go into route, you will see that this is post request and go /create. And I can post request to what the slash gonna be API /v1/create. So because I assigned this one, if you go back into our server, I put this one, the API v1 and our to-do routers right here. Okay, so right now we have this post right here. We're gonna have the error right here, which is fine. I'm gonna fix this one later. So we need send. So when we post, we need to send something to it, right? So our test right here, we test that everything is run perfectly, and that so we're gonna pass the title for them. So let's say create route, create to do, something like this. And for this one, it need the apps so to be run. So I'm gonna pass the apps right here. So we need to export the app from this one. So this is the apps that we need. So I'm gonna export default the apps. So we have the apps. So I'm gonna import apps from so right now we're in the test. So we get out of the test, go to source, and then we're gonna go to server. Perfect. So right now we have this one. So this one is gonna be return us the promise from the post. So what we can do is we're gonna do asyncs, and then we can do await, and then we're gonna const rest right here. So what I can do, I can check, I expect this one. So the expect, have you seen before, rest.body to have property. So they have property, I mean like this is the JSON. So this is like the dictionary. So we have like or we can say an object that have the body of MSG, and we have the property of record. Perfect. So because this is what I want, so it means like the test, what we expect here, everything run properly, and then we have the key of this one. All right, so right now let's try to run our test. So right now it's running. So we have successfully passed this one. So you can see that we have this one, our test is passed, but we have some error. So what is this error right here? So this one is mean like we initial the DB right here, and also why is right here is that our test should be exit, but it's not exit. Why is that? So the reason is that because we export everything from here, the apps. So the apps right here, you can see we do the app.listen on port something right here. So this is fails. I mean, like this okay, but we don't want to app.listen, right? So right now, if I were to try to run dev, so I mean like start a local server, I think this one is gonna fail because it's already running. Where is it running? It's running inside our test right here. So this is not what I want. So I'm gonna close this one, and I'm still gonna close this one. But once again, our test is passed. So to fix these issues, I'm gonna split from our server right here. So I'm gonna split this one into the apps.ts, and then I'm gonna copy and cut from this one. So I'm gonna keep the things that we need for this. This thing is we don't need. The DB also we don't need. I'm gonna remove this one, and also we don't need this one as well. So this is all the things that we need in our apps, and inside our server, we don't need this one. We don't need export. We don't need Express right here, and then we don't need this one. Okay. So right now it fails, and then next we can just import app from the apps right here. Perfect. So this one, and then for our test, instead from the server, we can do from the apps. So right now, if I were to do it again, so I'm gonna do run test, this one. So everything should pass. So you can see that our test is passed. Everything is finished right away. And if we can run our dev server, it's nothing. It's not gonna be trouble. Okay, everything is fine. I can go into here. I can send a request. So you can see that everything is fine. Okay, great. But the downside of this one, what is that? So if we look right now, if I go and check the database, so I'm gonna open the database, and then I'm gonna explore. So you can see right here. So I can run the database. So we could see that we have three records that being added. So it means that every time that I run the test, so right now if I run the test again, so it make requests to our database, and it insert into this one. So this is problem. So why is that? So we don't want our test to touch our server. So that is the thing. So because if the test is depend on the server or other infrastructure, it's going to be a problem. So we want to isolate that as much as we can. So to do that, we can mark the feature that our API here has done. So if we go back to our controller, we could see that this is running. That's why I put the database, put our record into the database. So what we need to do, we need to mark this behavior. So to do that, what I can do is I can create the mark functions for this one. So I can const, let's say marks create to do, and then it's going to be equal to jest.fn. It's going to be a function that is going to return the, let's say our to do. So let's say our record. So I'm going to call it to do. I'm going to create the to do variable right here. I'm going to cut this one. And then we can do something like this. Okay, so we're going to send our to do. And also this one is going to return to do. So, and then next is we're going to need to override some of the, so we're going to mark implementations. So to do that, we're going to import. So I'm going to import to do, I think this one should be from the source / to do. Oh, nope. Source / to do / model. And then because inside our model right here, we have the instance of our to do. And also if you can go into our controller, you could see that this is to do instance. So that's why we want to mark this one. So I can, in the model, I can do the to do instance and inside our to do instance. So we could do this one right here. So jest.spy on. So we can spy on to-do instance, and the function that we spy is going to be create. So we're going to spy on this function create, and then we're going to mock implementation of it. So the mock implementation is going to be the function that we go mock create to do right here. So this is fail because it's a type, so we can give the type of this function to any. So this one is going to result any error. So right now, I think everything this should be fine. So if we go into the database again, we can see that we have 4 records. So right now, if I were to run the test again, so this one is going to keep 4 records. We don't want to have this one is running. So I'm doing this one. So you can see that we do not touch our database anymore. Just to make sure that I'm going to delete our database. And then I can run the test again. So everything is fine. Okay, so it's great, it's fine. And the other thing is we want to make sure that our function is running because we mark right here. So it means that we need to make sure that this function has been called inside our test inside our controller, so we can test that. So we can expect the marks to do dot has to have been called. Let's say I think it should be has been called times 1. So I mean like we have at least have to be called 1 times. So right now, go back into our test, we run it. So this time it should be path. Perfect. So to verify that, I can just, let's say I'm going to remove the test right here. So also I'm going to add the record. So for now, I'm going to put the empty. So our record is going to be empty strings. So this is going to fail because we expect that at least to do instance going to call once. So you can see that because right now we comment this one so that the spy is not being called. Perfect. So I'm going to return back this one, and now everything should be fine. Okay, so right now, there you go. That's how you do the setup, you test, you mark your database. All right, that's great. So the next things that we wanted to test is to test the exception. So right now everything is fine. We expect because we test that if everything run properly, it should do behave like that. What if the test right here run failed? We want to it should be equal like this, right? So inside our test, we can create another one right here. All right, so I'm gonna copy this one, and then this one should be a test shoot. Let's say I'm gonna do request shoot handle exceptions. So in this one, so the same things. So what gonna cause an exception? So I'm gonna throw our function here is gonna throw an exception. So I'm gonna throw an error. So let's say I'm gonna throw this one is gonna be error. I'm gonna throw from here. All right, so I'm gonna make this one here. So this function will throw an error. So when this one is function throw an error, we catch it and then we're gonna return from this one. So that's what we're gonna do. So we expect that it to be request body is gonna equal to this one. So everything is fine and it has been called one, and then we have request body to be equal. So we can do equal to this one right here. Nice. So right now, if I would go back and I run the test again, so this one, we should pass this one as well. So we could see that we see the request should handle exception and then should have key this one right here. Oh, you want to make it consistent? You can put like, you know, should handle exception. So there you go. So right now that's how you can throw an exception from or whatever function that you can do right here. Okay. So next, what we going to handle is going to be the params title. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna run my server right here. I think our server is up and running, right? Okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, so when I try to insert the record into do, if I do not pass the titles, if I hit send, so this is the value the request validator is gonna send to me, and I want to verify that as well. I want to test that. I want to make sure that this will be sent something like this. So to do that, I can, so I'm gonna copy this one again. I'm gonna do this. So should handle request params. So should handle request params. So for example, if I send a to do right here, instead of send a to do, I'm gonna send the empty bracket or empty object right here. So it's gonna have an exception. It's not gonna have exception, so it's not gonna even pass to our controller. The request validator will block and will send to this one. Okay, so right now, what I can do is I can expect the request body to be equal this one. Perfect. So right now, if I go back into my test and I'm run it again, this one should have, all right, so it's gonna take a while. Okay, so we have some error. Okay, so what is that? Okay. So actually we did not call it. So it's good. It's good thing. So because that we did not call this one, right? Because if we look at into our route, we have the request validator. So we have to check to do first. After we check to do, we will do the create. So that's why we did not even call our create to do. So then this place we can remove all of this ones. So right now, if I were to run a test again, so this time it should be pass. There you go. Right now our test is pass. So if let's say for example, I pass the right to do, I pass the to do that we have in here. So this is going to fail because our return is going to be different and our expect is going to be different. So our return is going to be return fails this one, but instead we have this one right here. So that's why we have some error. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna do some back, put it back. So you may ask why this one and why it's, if I pass this one, why it should not be failed, right? It should be created. Well, because in here we do not mark our database. So because our apps right now, our request app right here is right now it's isolated from the database. So that's why we going to be fails. All right, so I think that right now it's pretty much it for this one. So for our test, for our create route, so I can close this one. So I'm gonna do one more route that we're gonna do the test, and we have, I believe we have 5 routes. I'm gonna put the issues in the GitHub so you can contribute and you can make a pull request in my GitHub so I can review that and maybe I can merge this one. Okay, so we're gonna do one more. So this one is going to be read paginations. So well, basically it's gonna be the same things. I'm gonna copy everything that we have in here, and then we should test for read pagination route, and we have what to do. All right, that's I don't think that we're not going to I don't think we're going to use this one. So this is our read paginations. So if it's returned perfectly, it's going to return an array. So if I were to go into, let's say, read, this one is going to be read, and then it's going to slash let's say read limit. So this one is going to be 5, and if I hit send, it should give me an empty array. The reason is we do not have anything inside our record. So let's try to create it first. I'm gonna create and I'm gonna do post. Let's do title, and then it's gonna be task 1. If I post, we can see we have this record, and then let's go to read limit is gonna be 5. And we can see we have the array of to do. Perfect. So that's what we want to test. So we want to test that it should return the array of to do. And then we, instead of marks create to do, we mark read all to do. And then we can do something like this. And for this one, it's going to be, if we go back into our controller, we can see that this is find all. This is not create, it's going to be find all. Okay, so right now we have find all, and the route is not going to be create, it's going to be read. And then for this one, we make sure that everything run properly. So we're going to pass our limit. It's going to be 5, or you can pass any number. I think it's believed that should be 1 to 10. So I'm going to pass the 5. Since this one is a GET request, we do not send anything. And for our marks, read all, it should be return our to do, right? This one, okay. And the request body should be equal, equal. I think should be equal to the array of to do. All right, so make sure that this one is called, and then this one should be array of to do. So for now, I can comment this one first. So we test the read paginations. I'm gonna run the test. There you go. So right now we can see that it should return up to do, and this one is passed. Perfect. Next is we're gonna test the handle exceptions. Basically, it's gonna be the same things. Should handle an exception. We have this one. We mark this find all, so I can. Let's see. I'm gonna copy this one right here, and I'm gonna paste this one. And we have create to do, we can pass here and pass here. And this one is going to be read. So we read properly, but we got some exception from our functions. So, and then this one is going to be get. And for our exception, when we throw, it's going to be equal to this one. So I can copy right here. And then I'm going to put right here. So our request body should be equal to this one when we have some exceptions. So right now, if I run the test, so this one should be past this one as well. Perfect. So right now you can see that. So last but not least, we're gonna check the request params. So since this one is gonna be route like this one, so I'm gonna copy this. So we need to have to pass the limit first. So let's say, for example, inside here, if I did not pass any query limit, so this one is going to show me an error that you should pass this one. So this is the things that I wanted to verify, that it should be equal to this one if they pass the request param not properly. Should handle, okay, or request query, I guess. This one should make sense. Okay, so right now, go back again and run the test. Okay, so right now you can see everything has run properly, and it passed all the test case. So I think there you go. So that's how you add the test to your REST API. And if you have any question or any suggestions, let me know in a comment. And and also if I have made any mistakes, and if I explain things not clear to you, feel free to let me know for that as well. So I hope you like this video. And once again, I do only for 2 routes, and the other 3. So you can go to my repo, contribute and push the code of your test for this 3 route right here. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you like this one. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. All right, so see you guys in the next video. Peace.